Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Podcast. We are back for Week 7 in the NFL. Picks, player props, all of it.
Should we be?
Deets, should we be? It's a great question. You know, one that I ask myself every day that I do this. Should I be doing this?
I mean, that's between you and your maker. I'm just wondering how we return. I mean, we were riding so high, and now we are so low.
So low is dramatic, but I understand what you're saying.
Here's how low we are. Jacoby Myers plus 350 for anytime touchdown. Like, that's the win, and I'm just going to ride it. I'm going to pretend I had all my units on that one.
I think you mentioned putting like 10 units on it or something. So that's like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, 4-figure payday out there. But we also mentioned that we had a lot of wiggle. We had some units to play with. But here's what we did wrong more than loose. Very loose. That's the problem. And that's what we did wrong and incorrectly more than anything is just start spraying. Spraying units.
Oh, yeah. We went full Scorsese on this thing. 345 minutes.
Full on. There was no intermission either. We just took the beating all the way
cuts.
Through. Yep.
Everything.
All the way through. Including the Chargers not pulling it off, including the Bills. You warned me about that one, and I'm going to be listening to. We were going to be listening to each other a little bit. I'll be talking about some of your picks too.
We're trying to do that.
Yeah, let's haggle a little bit about stuff. We missed on a lot of stuff except for Miami and
felt good about Miami
and Jacoby Myers. So we went from up 15 units, my dude, to up just 6.5 units.
Yeah, and you could feel it in your chest as the day progressed. And I think you're right. We just sprayed it. We were just like, you know what? We're riding hot. I'm going to place a lot of chips down on a lot of different numbers and colors. And that's not how we got here. That's not how we got here. There were a lot of player props. There were a lot. And I stopped going from the gut. I started getting analytical. That's never good. It was a big hot mess of a week, and we're terribly sorry.
Very sorry, because we did get a pretty good amount of views. So happy to have you all here with us. Appreciate it all as we move forward. Do want to remind everyone to like and subscribe. Go ahead and rate the podcast if you would, if you're following along as well. That's super helpful. I will say on the Thursday night game that just eclipsed here, we had a number of props that I put up. I mentioned Levy. Fantasy football guru Levy helped me put together a nice 4-leg parlay that missed by Evan Ingram 3 yards. And I just want to go over the story really quickly. I gave the play out that we were going to go Evan Ingram over 43.5 yards. We were going to go Christian Kirk over 54.5 yards. We were going to go Etienne touchdown and Etienne over 20 receiving yards. All of that hit except for when I went to place the bet, the Evan Ingram prop went from 43 to 46.5.
Oh.
Evan Ingram ended last night with 45 yards.
Oh.
So that's how we lost the 12-1 legger. But because we had some plus odds on the Etienne Tutty and the other bets all hit, it was still a plus night because played all those as singles and a little touch on the parlay. But isn't that really how betting works?
Can that qualify as a bad beat?
I think without question. The other part that came into it was the defensive touchdown for the Jags, which melted the passing game for the Jags until they gave up 2 touchdowns in a row. And then Kirk scores the 1-on-1 play, gets 44 yards. And it's just betting, man. Like, it's a great bet. It was about to hit at half and it loses. So what are you going to do?
Hey, that's why we play the game and get 10%.
Yep. But we're going to move on. The main point of me bringing that up until I just got completely immersed in my sad sob story is, Matt, if that parlay had hit, and a number of people did do this, but if that parlay had hit, I told everyone in the video, if you like and subscribe, I see that you rated the podcast, all that stuff, I'm going to give you the money. It was 20.
Oh, you're going full McAfee.
Totally. I'm going to start standing up with a white beater on.
Just like the same way I wear the Carhartt sweatshirt and the Maple Leafs hat. Like, it's just my McAfee.
It's your thing.
Dude, it's like 42 degrees outside. Why are you wearing that shirt?
Yeah.
Also, that's take tan. Is it working for you, buddy?
That was where I was going next, was your pasty white. Not fair. I also have pasty white arms. Who are we to talk?
I mean, we're not arguing about pasty white arms. I'm just saying, it's not all pasty. At some point, it turns orangish.
Your point. Getting us back on track, we're going to kick it off with side. Okay. All right. And by the way, I lied to you guys. I apologize. I forgot to add in that the Jacoby Myers touchdown. And so we are only down We were down 7 units on the day, so that brings us.
So now we're up 112.
Yeah, 100%. That's not true. We are only up now 7 units on the season. Still very happy with that over 3 weeks. We've only been doing this for 3 straight weeks.
Better than
moving on, baby. Yeah, and we're moving on and we're picking up pace. And I'm going to kick things off for us with a game that I think I'll be watching. It'll be the Rams and the Steelers. And I'm going full Rams, baby. You can see if you're watching on YouTube, I got my Cooper Kupp guy here telling you why I like the Rams, because it does come down to a lot of Cooper Kupp. I was talking to some people about this game, and one person was like, well, that pass rush for the Steelers, if you can't protect Stafford, I go, do you know what Stafford's best protection is? Cooper Kupp 8 yards out. That's all I'm really worried about. He's now got 2 of the top 10 maybe possession receivers, and Puka as well, wherever you want to throw him.
I think that's fair.
Right? Yeah, super solid 1B and really wide receiver 2 there for them. But it really comes down to the Steelers not being able to stop the pass, and the Rams have established their identity. They're going to play at the 5th fastest pace. They have the 5th most passing yards. They have the 5th most successful offense in terms of offensive DVOA. Yeah. This is just not a great matchup for the Steelers when they're giving up, the 8th most passing yards. They're the 2nd worst in expected outcome there on pass plays as well. So it's not a good matchup for them, regardless of the spot for Mike Tomlin being on the road. If this was 3.5, I'd probably be away from it because of that factor. Yeah, I think but you know what I do buy into, and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin is 3-7 in 10 games that he's played in the Pacific time zone.
Yeah. I just don't give Mike Tomlin any juice anymore. I just don't. For so many years, this team was built as a Super Bowl contender. A lot of that just had to do with the fact that they had a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and there was no reason to not build a Super Bowl contender. And Tomlin's presence there was to create balance between a team that had a lot of offensive firepower and create a consistently good defense when they didn't typically have a lot of money put to that side. Right. They clearly have a good defense, but it's not just this year. Over the last couple of years, their cornerbacks are just barbecue chicken. I'm sure Patrick Peterson will really be able to slow down Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp could probably play with a club foot and still get 100 yards in this game. Nakua in the slot, I just think it is easy pickings. My only hesitation in not taking this game is that it becomes a little simple, right? It's a little obvious what the game plan is for the Rams, which is just throw it to Cooper Kupp. And I know they won a Super Bowl doing that, so I'm not discounting it terribly, but they do need to run the football. And I don't know who their running back is going to be. I don't know who their running backs are going to be on Sunday. And so you got Williams out. He's been out all, since like Tuesday on the injury designation report. That's a bit of a concern for a team that has, to this point, just ridden him through the gates of hell since week 1. And the run game has to be there for the Rams offense to really be effective and to really get those opportunities for Cooper Kupp. Because yes, he's going to be open, but that's only if it's one-on-one. I do feel like if the run game's not there, the Steelers are clearly smart enough. They might not be talented enough, at least on the back end, but they're smart enough to put somebody over the top and bracket Cooper Kupp. And I do think that in order for the Rams to win this, they have to have both Kupp and Nakua going. And if they can only get one of them just because of the tenets of the Steelers defense and them selling out to stop one of the two guys, that gives me some pause. And the fact that you say that you wouldn't be on this at 3.5 adds into that. Now, everyone knows I'm no fan of Kenny Pickett. So
it's my favorite drop of the show. We weren't betting on Kenny Pickett when he was healthy. Why would we start betting on him when he's injured?
I just find that Kenny Pickett, everything about him is flabbergasting. He's not good. What has he done to convince anyone that he's good?
No, I don't think anybody thinks that. I think the reason that I'm afraid of the hook is the same reason that there isn't one and people are still sort of like keeping it from getting too much in the Rams' favor here, or even the Steelers' favor. What I'm trying to say is Mike Tomlin still has mystique. And if you think that certain things trump that, which I agree, because we lost, you could say the Mike Tomlin mystique is what came into play for that Ravens and Steelers game that we missed.
That was more division stuff in Lamar. It felt like the Ravens lost.
It was drop game. It was the drop game of the season. It was awful. Like, someone needs to look into how Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman.
Well, I can understand the last two a little bit.
Arena Football League wide receiver Rashad Bateman. Like,
right.
Like, that was a fluke that had nothing to do with Tomlin out coaching anybody. The game was still in pocket for them. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think if you don't believe in that mystique, then you look at the rosters, you look at what the Rams do well, what the Steelers don't on defense, and you go, I don't really care that Zach Evans is going to be getting the majority of the touches for the Rams. That's fine.
I guess we could presume it's Zach Evans. Like, do we know if Zach Evans is good or not? Like, that's a real issue.
No,
it's a real issue. We knew Kyron Williams showed up week 1, and it's like, oh, that guy's good. And Sean McVay's like, yeah, he is. He's our full bell cow now.
He's our horse now.
And he's remained good. Yeah. So this offense doesn't function without competent running back play. They still run the outside zone stuff. You need to have it. Let's go back to Kenny Pickett real fast. I just want to make this point because I'm like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. So we all agree that Kenny Pickett sucked ass last year, right?
And this year.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we agree that he sucked ass last year.
Definitely.
Okay, because he completed 63% of his passes through 7 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, right? He had a QBR, ESPN out of 100 QBR of 53.6, which is ass. Kenny Pickett has a QBR of 33 this year. And that includes just chucking one up to George Pickens running in the 9 route. Like, he has 4 interceptions to 5 touchdowns. He's completing 60% of his passes. He is ass. And I know that the
second touchdown to Pickens was a cross as well that he ran. Like, the yak on that was like 60 yards.
There's been like, it's been more than 2. I think more than half of Kenny Pickett's touchdowns are just like yak daddy Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, this is how Nick Mullins functioned in the NFL back in the day. Just like, please, someone take this ball. You can't trust Najee Harris or that offensive line. I don't know which one's the problem, but it ain't working.
It's a little bit the line. They won't throw to Harris. Yeah, if you want to just like harp on the Steelers for a minute, the offense.
Matt
like,
Canada sucks.
Matt Canada, just end it there. Just Matt Canada.
I guess the premise that I'm trying to present here is, do you think the Rams are going to put 24 on the board?
Right. Exactly.
If you do, take Rams -3 and run with it. Because I 3 touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers would be a modern miracle. Even again, I think this Rams defense has some talent. They have a bunch of dudes that you don't know. They got a guy named Rush Yds. Like, no one knows who's on these Rams, but like, they play pretty hard, and Aaron Donald's still there. And I think they're like a slightly competent defense.
Slightly competent. That's all you need. Yeah.
Yeah. Against the Steelers, sure as hell all you need.
And they rank better than the Steelers. So you're in agreement with me on the -3 because of any sort of lack of spark that the Steelers might give you to feel confidence in them. There's no spark there. There's no outs where you go, well, unless the wide receivers on the other team drop the ball a million. Because like you said, what it comes down to is the Rams are going to be passing them both more points than you. If you can't stop that, and for this offense, that means to the tune of 17 points. Like you said, like, I don't see Kenny Pickett being able to get more than like 17 points unless his defense puts him in a wonderful position. If the Rams take care of the ball, this isn't an easy win for me. So.
My worry is I don't know who the Rams running back is, and I do think that if whomever it is doesn't show up in a big way, or at least look the part, then the Rams get very predictable, and I don't like predictability against Mike Tomlin in that defense, which I think we can argue happened in that game against the Ravens. The Ravens got predictable. They were kind of running the same 4 plays over and over again. It didn't work out so great for them, and I'd prefer Lamar Jackson to Matt Stafford still. It's a pretty tight race, but I'm not on this, but I agree with your premise. I'm not putting my money down, but you can put your own on it.
I am. I'm a Rams believer, and McVay has a week to figure it out with Zach Evans and a much better passing attack than the Steelers' defensive passing, the pass defense. So let's move on to your first pick.
Yeah.
I get to show this man in all his beautiful mustache. That is Travis Kelce. He's pointing at Dieter's bet of Chiefs -5.5.
He seems skeptical of it.
No, I think he's looking at you like, good pick, brother.
Maybe. Listen, I'll take the Kelce boost right now. It's clearly all him. Here's where I'm at with the chefs. It is them coming off a Thursday night game. You got the Chargers coming off a Monday night game. So first and foremost, no bueno. The Chiefs have owned everyone in their division. It's like laughable how good Patrick Mahomes is against dudes in his own division. At a certain point, there's not really anything that Brandon Staley can come up with. If they had it, it would have been used by now. I'm a believer in this Chiefs defense. I'm looking at a Chargers offense that is lost, I think, without Mike Williams, right? Like Austin Eckler's back in there. It gives them a little bump. Keenan Allen's awesome. But, man, Herbert is making some galling decisions with the ball. And it's because he's not getting the kind of protection that he probably needs, and he doesn't have that clear secondary option down the field. So it's really Keenan or bust. They don't trust any of the young guys yet. I just think that Steve Spagnuolo is going to kind of have a field day with the boom or bust kind of play calling that the Chargers have been doing under Kellen Moore, who, by the way, is not good at this. I don't know why people think he's good. No, he's really not. Legitimately, what have the Cowboys lost since he left? It's not. He doesn't do interesting things. He just runs. It's like he threw into ChatGPT, what are the 7 most interesting play calls in the modern NFL? And every year he does that, and he takes one McVay play and one Shanahan play and 2 Mike McDaniel plays, and then just runs those. And by week 5, it's we know what's coming, dude. Matt Canada's at least, showing some ingenuity with his shittiness. So
I will refuse to hear praise of Matt Canada.
That's what I'm just saying. Kellen Moore's not good at this, and I think it's starting to show. So multiple factors. Again, Mahomes owns the division. I much prefer the Chiefs defense to the Chargers defense. That's a big red flag. Yeah. I think Kansas City is getting closer. I don't know if McCole Hartman will play in this game, but the fact that they have traded for him tells me that they are getting down to brass tacks in the pass game. And I think it's going to be a lot of Rashee Rice, mixing in some Kadarius Toney, but we know it's going to be the main man 87 on first, second, and third. Pacheco's the running back now. The offensive line outside of right tackle is in really, really good shape. I like Kansas City. They're a team that seems to be rounding into form for me. I keep saying this every week, but every week I see more and more reasons to believe in them, not just I think it was very easy after week 1 narratively to just say, Chiefs have fallen off a little bit, but they're still the defending champions. They don't have to play like defending champions until the very end of the season, right? Until playoff time. And the way that they make sure that they're there in playoff time is they keep kicking the ass of everyone in their division, and the Chargers are part of that. So
I just want to bring up a few quick things to see if we can make sure that we're Teflon here as much as possible, and that there's no holes that I can really poke too deeply. The first one is,
I love poking holes, so let's get after it.
The first one is they don't cover.
The Chiefs don't cover. The Chiefs don't cover is a very real fear, and if you are of that mindset at 5.5, which is just a funky number, right? It don't feel good anywhere. Then just take an alt line, work it up, work it down. Play around with it for a little bit, find out what you're into.
So that's point number 1.
Yeah,
the Chiefs against the spread over the last couple of years against the division is 5.
It's brutal.
Essentially, it's
against the spread, but they always win.
The spread. Yeah, they always win, and that's the thing. So the point 3 kind of plays off of that, though. Where we're at, 1 or 2. The second point would be the last 3 games. The last 3 games versus the team, we're talking 34-28. That was a win in 21. Last year, both games were within 3 points. Chiefs 3-point win.
Yeah, they were barn burners.
Yeah, they both were decently high scoring games, especially for this season. Jeez, both above 50. The third point would be Chargers don't lose or win by more than 3 points. It feels like
they have the Phillip Rivers complex, is what you're saying. Every time you see him, it's last drive down by 6.
My buddy Will, once again, the betting guy, loves to say, like, they should just start every Chargers game with either team within a field goal and driving down the field to either win it or tie it.
Yeah,
and it's going to either end as a tie or in some weird heartbreaking fashion on either side. It's Chargers football.
I would say that is it's not an invalid concern. It's a valid concern, right? And 5.5, it's a big fat number, especially on the quasi road. Thursday v. Monday is a criminal enterprise by the NFL. I know the Dallas Cowboys aren't the most physical team in the world, and I did not care for the way that the Chargers lost that game. But Monday, I mean, they got to play on Monday. What do we talk about all the time with the Chiefs? What is Andy Reid after bye weeks? He's effectively undefeated. Right. Like at a certain point, it rounds up to ain't never lost. And you're giving this guy a mini bye. I mean, Travis Kelce's out getting the Taylor Swift boost in New York all weekend. Like, I don't know, man. You know she's going to be there.
Say what you want. Like, he puts on a little bit extra.
This matters. This matters. I mean, we can only relate to like the girl we had the crush on in 8th grade, but like Travis Kelce's doing that at the biggest stage.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Listen, I don't feel great about this weekend slate. I don't feel great about anything after last weekend's losses, but like, I don't feel great about this weekend slate. There's just a lot of on it. And with Christian McCaffrey's questions, I don't know what to do with that Niners-Vikings line at 7 on Monday Night Football.
Speaking of gross, let me get to your next bet, which is the Bears plus 115 on that.
Well, okay, let me finish up on the Chiefs here real fast.
Finish up on the Chiefs because you're talking about gross stuff. It seemed like
and then we're gonna get to the gross. I'm about to get downright depraved, but like, all I'm saying with the Chiefs is, I think we could look at 3.5 to 4.5 is a very fair line. I'm gonna take that extra point off of the extra rest and just feel okay about it because there's it's not 7. If it was 7, you're running for the hills, right? You just don't want anything to do with it. If it's 6, you don't want anything to do with it. But at 5.5, giving me 5 in the hook, I feel okay about. I don't feel great. I would love it to be 5. I'd love it to be 4.5. We'd all love that. That ain't how it works sometimes. 5.5, we're under a touchdown. I'm gonna take it, and it'll probably be a nail biter up until the end. But like, you're down by 6 going into the final drive. You throw an interception. I mean, that's how it ends, right? That's how Justin Herbert ends this game, right?
We need them to be up by 6 at that point. It's true,
right?
And I want the urgency to be there for them on offense because they turn into a running team. That's a part of the issue with covering for them is the slow play, the lack of explosive touchdowns. That because like they don't have it. Like Rashee Rice can't really be trusted yet to catch the ball too far downfield. He can be trusted to catch it within 5-10 yards and then go fly down the field with the ball in his hand. But right now he's got too many drops for them to trust him as the number 1 wide receiver.
All you have to do is trust Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with extra time to think about it.
I'll let that guide us. I'll let that be our North Star.
Now let's get down and dirty.
Let's get in the muck here, baby. Like let's just roll around in some slop.
Do you know where Shepherd University is?
Who the fuck knows where Shepherd University is?
Yeah, so I have Bears plus 115. I'm taking the straight up money line against the Raiders. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons. 1, the Raiders are averaging 16 points per game this season.
Start
16. Somehow they have won football games. Last week, they went over 20 points for the first time all damn year. They scored 21. Okay, this is with everybody healthy. They don't know what the hell they're doing on offense. They have a decent offensive line. They have an outstanding, I think they have a pretty damn good 1-2 receiver combo. They have one of the best receivers in the history of the National Football League on their team, who is still at the end of his prime, I would argue, at least physically. You have the guy who was unstoppable last year as a running back. You got all this stuff, but because they have Jimmy Garoppolo, it's just like, I don't know. Because Josh McDaniels calling the plays, they have no idea how to play offense. And so the notion that they're going to put up points with Brian Hoyer or the other guy whose name eludes me right now, what's his name? Cade. It's something. He's got a terrible mustache. He's wearing 4, which feels ridiculous. Whomever it is, why would I think that they're going to put up more than 20 points? They couldn't do it when they had at least an NFL starting caliber quarterback in Garoppolo back there. Why would that change? Like, what's going to change here? And so I don't care that they're playing the Bears. Nothing's going to change for the Raiders on offense. Their ineptitude is solely their own fault. So there's that.
How many points do they need to score?
I think they need to score 20 points because, like, Tyson Badgett might be good. I'm telling you. I'm
sneezing to the microphone.
Tyson Badgett might be good.
God bless you.
Shepherd University, Division II. Shepherd is in Shepherdsonville, West Virginia. It's in Shepherd's town. It's spelled weird. They played at Ram Stadium, 5,000 capacity, Division II. Yeah. Not exactly a Big Ten program, but dude set records there. Is like the all-time NCAA passer. Got reps on reps on reps, and I'd like to note something here because I'm kind of sicko that watches some Bears preseason football, so that I know what to talk about with my Chicago people. He beat out P.J. Walker and the Peterman for the backup quarterback job. P.J. Walker, who I believe you're betting on to win this week, or at least I am.
You are. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
P.J. Walker, who won a game last week, not that he had anything to do with it, but like this dude in the preseason was kind of the truth. Tyson Badgett. And last week,
here's what I heard you say there. The Browns won last week. P.J. Walker was there.
Yeah, he was present for the game and was credited with the victory. In the same way, I'm a Division I football player. Well, I mean, you were there. You got some team issued gear for a day. So Tyson Badgett last week against the Vikings, when he came in, he threw a nasty interception immediately. Okay, and then that sets the tone for the rest of the game. He went 10 of 14 for 83 yards. He actually had some really nice plays. He could move around with his feet a little bit. I'm not saying he's better than Justin Fields. I'm saying he's got nothing to lose. And all he's got to do is put up 3 touchdowns. You put up 3 touchdowns, you win the game. Bears are at home. Bears are a home dog. I got a good feeling about this kid. When he throws 4 interceptions, I'll eat it. But, like, the Raiders have shown me nothing. I think they're getting way too much credit. Their defense is fine. I think Tyson Badgett has a chance to be the number 1 story in football coming out of this week. I really do. I think he's going to look competent, if not more than competent. I'm taking the Bears plus 115. The fact that this line isn't 6 or 7 tells me everything when it comes to the books. There's no reason to be on the Raiders. There's no reason to be on the Raiders. What are you winning going on the Raiders? And yet the books are saying it's within a field goal. Like, what? They must think Tyson Badgett is okay himself. And we know the Bears got a couple of weapons. Defensively, they're a hot mess, but that just doesn't matter because so are the Raiders on offense. I'm taking the Bears. I'm taking the Bears on the money line. Tyson Badgett era begins now.
I love the confidence, and I'll just say the only tweak to everything that you said that I would make is just, I mean, go for it on the money line. I'm never going to talk.
No, don't never take a line within the field goal margin, baby.
You don't need it. No, it was at 3 at one point, and it got bet down.
Yeah,
for the record, that's the thing. Like
people are feeling the Badgett love.
Well, and sharps were just on the Bears early. I think it even opened at 3.5 in some books. Yeah. So when it got down to under 3, the value was totally gone. But 3.5, taking points in a game that you're like, this is a literal coin flip. It's 2 duty coins that you're flipping in the air, just being like, well, see whichever one lands on the right one. And it's just it's total. You not even roll the dice. It's like worse odds. But
it's a terrible game. Like I don't recommend anyone watch this for your health. But like.
Yeah, or sanity.
There's a level of fun. Here.
I got a kind of gross game for you.
Oh,
for those not watching on YouTube, the Bucs and the Falcons logos just came up.
Oh,
handsome picture of Baker Mayfield, like looking like he's about to dive nose first.
Baker's got to stop wearing the Simon Cowell kids large jersey.
How is he supposed to show up those freaking muscles?
He's got big guns and a big gut. He's got the Kurtenbach bod happening right now.
Got a lot of pads under there, man. You know, I got to work out the upper body. But the point is he's a -2.5 favorite as the quarterback, regardless of how stocky he looks in this photo.
Yeah,
so
he's a stumpy boy.
This is the week of just the poo-poo, as we've said now numbers of times. So the week of the poo-poo. And so I do declare doth. But I think this is just another fade. That's what you do in these situations, is like you've got the Bucs with the Falcons on the road. Falcons on the road means Desmond Ritter on the road.
Yeah.
An 0-4 on the road quarterback in his career. He has 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions.
He was butt last week.
So only give you more of that, man. And it's
who's his backup?
Taylor Heineke, who should be getting time. But this is a situational, and it could be like I don't know, maybe you run a 2 QB situation where on the road Taylor Heineke's the quarterback. It's not doing himself any favors, to be honest. And this is a dude who was in the top 5 for potential coach of the year this year with the projections.
Actually, I'll say this. I was in on the Falcons at the beginning of the year, so I'm just laughing at myself.
No. That's not a bad bet. I have them 4-1. I believe we talked about this first time we did an NFL show. I have them 4-1 to win the division because of the same reason that you bet on the Bears against the Raiders. It's like, oh, you're telling me everybody here is terrible, and they at least have some weapons on offense, and they're getting 4-1. You think Derek Carr and the Saints are for real? How's that working out for you?
No, so great. But then we didn't see Baker and the Bucs coming, did we?
And they were still 6-1 after like week 2 to win the NFC South, and now they're at like plus 150. And I still think that if you put a gun to my head and said you have to bet on this team or on this division, I would say, well, you're just gonna have to shoot me. But no, if I really had a team,
I'd rather die than care about the NFC South.
Exactly. But I will care about this game because let me throw some stuff at you. 0-4 on the road, 58% completion percentage. That's 10% better at home. Like he's decent at home. 230 yards a game at home. 176 on the road. He had 290 last week to end the game, including those 3 terrible picks. And by the way, shout out Drake London, who caught a lot of crap. Not a lot of balls last year, but a lot of crap. And Desmond Ritter is throwing the ball 9 yards away from him. I think all he's worked on this offseason is his catch radius and just extending his arms.
He's extendo arming.
Totally, because he's making some catches that like not a lot of guys would make with Desmond Ritter throwing them the ball. But that's not going to matter here. Like the Bucs are very good at stopping the run, and the Falcons right now are 28th in expected outcome on their and rushing offense success, and they're running the ball the 5th most of anybody in the league. Like that's
because Arthur Smith is I'm never going to abandon the run. Never going to abandon the run.
But he's going to keep handing it off to Tyler Algier and Bijan's going to get 10 carries a game. It's like.
That has shifted. I mean, it is Bijan.
Not last. That was what was frustrating. Last game, they went right back to the garbage, which is fine. I didn't care about that game at all. But I don't want to go off too much on a tangent. I do think there's something to the idea that like a Gibbs and a Bijan are getting minimal usage in certain situations because of all the controversy that happened this offseason with running back. That really came to a head anyway this offseason with running back contracts, the value of a running back. You run them into the ground before they're 28, and then what do you have left? And I think they'd like Bijan's career to go a little bit longer, so that's fine. But the bottom line is everything else isn't going to get it done for them. The Bucs are too good at stopping what they want to do, and I don't see them getting around that. So I'm going to take the Bucs to get under the field goal here, -2.5.
Okay. If I had to take a side, I'm with you. Let me throw a number that backs up what you're saying. Who do you think has the fewest points allowed in the NFC this year? No, it's not. It's the 49ers, right?
Oh,
they're 49ers have allowed 87 points so far this season, right? That's the lowest in the NFC. Tampa Bay is second at 88. I think that we know Todd Bowles, what he's about. If we're going to give Mike Tomlin, we're not. You are. If we're going to give Mike Tomlin a lot of credit for like maintaining a really quality defense when an offense is kind of ass. We got to give Todd Bowles the same level of respect. Now, I want to throw one thing beyond that. there's a lot of dudes on this Tampa defense that won a Super Bowl as a defense. Like, I know that it was Tom Brady and Gronk and Antonio Brown, all this crap. Like, I know that those things happened on offense. That defense also made Patrick Mahomes' life a living hell in conjunction with the Kansas City offensive line, but made his life a living hell in that game. And again, it was a while back, but there's still a lot of, it was a young defense at the time. And I think that this Tampa defense is perhaps the most under-heralded unit in the NFL right now. They just don't get talked about with any reverence because it's the NFC South, and we just presume that everyone in there is ass. And they might be, but at least one unit in this division isn't, and it's the Tampa Bay defense. Yeah. And so add in your Desmond Ritter, add in all that stuff, like, that's fine. I just will I refuse to go anywhere near the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. Even to bet against them. I refused it. I don't trust it. I can't trust it, and I can't trust Baker Mayfield.
Oh, man, I'm starting to love me some Baker, because as a game manager for a team that, like you said, I did not understand the thrashing that their defense was taking as coming out as like not a good unit. And some people predict them as a bottom 10 unit in the league this year because they lost a ton up front. But like, they've got such an incredible defensive backfield that I was like, if you got nowhere to throw, you can eventually get to the quarterback. Plus, those linebackers are still very good. They're freaking Pro Bowlers.
Arguably the best.
It just made no sense to me that they were getting, worked over like that. And they got a decently tough schedule, but this is a good spot for them. Let me move on to our last side here. Where, talking about poo-poo. Literal Browns. Browns and Colts. Same franchise, aren't they?
I mean, it's something. Just strictly speaking, I think the Browns, if you don't think that the Browns defense is the NFL's best after last week, I don't know what sport you're watching. Just full stop. What they did to the 49ers was a round house kick to the jaw and then the throat and then like right to the heart. They absolutely whooped San Francisco's ass. Up front, out back, everywhere. There was nothing phony about the win for the Cleveland defense. They are awesome. And Jim Schwartz is incredible as a coordinator. I got a little high, and maybe this is just me trying to buy back what I lost. I got a little high on Gardner Minshew last week. Gardner Minshew was butthole last week. There's just, I don't know how the Colts move the football. Full stop. I don't know how they move the football against the Browns in this game. Unless Cleveland just wants to say, no, we're good. P.J. Walker had a couple of things. There's some stuff that can be exploited. I don't really care for the Colts defense. I don't think it has much of anything to offer anybody. I just think that the Colts are totally screwed. I like a couple of their players, but dude, like I don't know how they move the football. Not against this, not against an engaged Browns defense. And given the fact that P.J. Walker is the quarterback, it gives me all the more reason to believe that the defense is going to show up for Cleveland, because that's the only way they're going to win. Like, they can't take a week off. Full stop. There's no letdown from that 49ers game because there's no come up for the offense. So I think this is what's the total? Do you have a total anywhere on this?
Oh yeah, it's low and it's gross.
If it's anything under like 38, take it.
Yeah,
this is ass game, but you're getting Browns minus 3 under hard.
That's crazy. There's other games that are way lower than that this week. 3 points lower than that this week.
Yeah,
wow, still low. I do think that they're doing some fairly interesting things with Hunt and Ford and the Browns backfield. I don't think the Browns are a particularly good team. I think their defense is exceptional. I think their offense is bottom 10. But anyone who goes against the Browns won't be able to score. So I just... Colts have 13 points written all over them in this game. Yeah. And, as little as I think of the Browns, I think they can get to 16. Yeah.
There it is. That's a bet.
No, that is a bet. I get what you're saying. It's one of another sort of weird spot for them. I believe on the road here. Yeah, in the, it's just I hate the spot, but I just agree they're just such a better team.
It's easy travel. It's a dome. You know, like
under as much as anything. To be honest.
Yeah, the under has real promise. It really does.
Let me actually use that to segue into some player props because
nice.
There's two Colts I'm starting off with here, and you asked the question, so I'll answer it. I don't know what the Colts are going to do to move down the field. This is going to be what they try to do. It's peppering Josh Downs with targets. So over 4.5 receptions for him
for a total of 10 yards.
Right? It was so awesome watching those power plays just like speedily being faster than everybody. But that's what he's going to do again. 4.5 receptions for this man. He gets like, if you want to take over 4.5 receptions and like an under 40 yards receiving for him, that's a great bet because this man ain't getting 10 yards a catch. I'll tell you that right now. He had like 12 targets last week from Gardner Minshew.
Yeah,
got like 38 yards or something.
Yeah,
and he caught like 6 of them. But this is going to
be some Alvin Kamara like shit.
And he's a wide receiver.
Yes.
So it's incredible. That's the impressive thing is that this A-dot is tiny. We call it the Paris Campbell Kadarius Toney special. 8 receptions for 12 yards, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go after the yards. I'm just going to say over 4.5 for my guy because once Gardner gets in the game, then it's just the Josh Downs show. Unfortunate for Michael Pittman and his fantasy football owners because he's really good. I still think that. But Minshew, when Minshew's on the field, Josh Downs goes up to about a 21% target share. And he's about 14% with AR. So that's really what I need to know there. He gets peppered with the targets. He's got good hands. Over 4.5.
Love it.
For the same game here, gotta go under. Gotta go under. You just got done calling the Cleveland Browns the 85 Bears.
I never said they're the 85 Bears because the 85 Bears had a competent offense. They had Walter Payton.
I heard he was really good.
Yeah, so I've heard too. He wore kangaroo shoes. Jonathan Taylor, under 45.5. That's an absurd line, right? Like, do they presume Zach Moss? What do you read into this? Do you see a lot of Zach Moss, or do you just see this as Browns defense good?
I see enough Zach Moss combined with the Browns defense to get me to 12 carries for Jonathan Taylor in this game. He had a 15% snap share when he came back, and we saw Zach Moss go for like 2 touchdowns and like 150 yards. Then the next game, we saw Moss vulture a touchdown again, but also we saw a 42% snap share for JT. So it's going up for sure. And it's going to be, my prediction would be closer to 65% of the snap share. But you look at how many times that means he's going to run the ball, and I still cap him at about 12. And also the usage share matters a lot here because Zach Moss is still getting carries. So it's not like just because Zach Moss isn't out there that JT's getting they're running the ball every time with him.
Right.
The usage still is pretty even when it comes to run plays and even pass plays. Both really good pass blocking as well and receiving, but obviously they want to be trusted to protect the quarterback in certain situations. They both are. So it's not like there's a situational advantage for JT in this one. It's really about, I don't think he's going to average 4.5 yards a carry, and I don't think he's going to get enough carries to, more than 12 carries to get him.
I'm not on it, but I appreciate the reasoning. Can't disagree with it.
And I just wanted to take some unders. Let me go to one more under.
Do you think we're compensating at all?
Yes. Well, look, man, the unders are the way to go, right? Like they know.
There's a lot more ways you can go under than over.
Right, 100%. Well said. So, go back to this game. Are we just talking about all the same freaking games? I'll at least start with the Lions.
Let's be real. This is a real degenerates week.
Totally. You got to get down and dirty if you're going to participate in football this week. Which, by the way, you don't have to. There's going to be some baseball on if you want to watch that. But
that's the most degenerate thing I've ever heard.
Desmond Ridder under 211.5. And I had a really smart football person tell me, like, I don't care who you are. If you're an NFL quarterback, you can get over 190 yards in the NFL.
Right.
Okay, but this 211.5. This is a real number for somebody who I briefly mentioned earlier averages 176 yards per game on the road in the 4 road games he's played in his career. His team is 1-9 in that instance. He's got a QBR of 42. I say again, a QBR of 42 in those road games. And I don't know why I would trust him to do this against a Bucs defense that, once again, is third best when it comes to expected outcome on each play.
That's brutal. It's tough too because he's coming off of the two biggest yard games of the season, 307, 329. But there's also plenty of scuttlebutt that he can get his ass benched this week. So game script lends itself to something right around here. And if you get benched, guess what? You're not getting any more passing yards. So I do feel like the under's probably the lean. But boy, it's tight. We're talking 55-45 from my perspective. I like it, though. I like it.
Yeah,
say ride.
A slight edge, like you said, but these are also two of the slower teams in the NFL. So I think, I mean, well, Atlanta's actually picked up.
Anytime you can take the under on a QBR this season of 40, you got to do it.
I agree.
I mean, he's in the Kenny Pickett zone.
Totally. He's Kenny Pickett. He's a little bit better. He can run. He can throw fast. He can't.
I mean, he's thrown for 300 yards, so clearly he's not Kenny Pickett.
That's all we need to know. My guy, Sam LaPorta. That's how we close out these play-up props.
Yeah, Sammy,
Gronk 2.0. Like, let's be fair. Like, he's the downgraded version of Gronk, but like, because I don't think anybody will ever be Gronk, if we're being honest, as overall tight end. But like, this dude is doing his best Gronk impression of being bigger than everyone on the field and very fast. So like, that's what I got for you. I love LaPorta. He's doing things that, I mean, look, the only other tight ends as good as him through this much of the season are Gronk and another guy that used to play for the Chicago Bears that you might have heard of there in
Mr. Mike Ditka.
Maybe you've heard of Mr. Ditka. So 41.5 yards. Basically, like, week 2 came around and I saw Sam LaPorta play 2 games and I go, well, I'm sorry, week 3 came around and I had already seen Sam LaPorta play 2 games and I was like, does anybody need to ask themselves if he's a top 5 tight end in the league already? Are you all
not a high bar these days?
It's to be fair, not a high bar, but like, but also like Darren Wall's a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Like, certain guys are not even blocking.
Well, he doesn't really receive. He's just wide.
Sam LaPorta is going to get over. And what I said to myself week 3 was, if you continue to get Sam LaPorta lines at 40 yards or lower, you just go. And also working in his favor at this point, the weapons are dropping a bit. Amon-Ra's back, but David Montgomery is not. And neither is Jahmyr Gibbs. And I just don't think they want to run Craig Reynolds into the back of their offensive line very often, regardless of how good their offensive line has been, by the way. It's a top 6 offensive line right now.
No doubt. Great center, great tackle play.
Not great weapons at running back left right now is the problem. So that's why I think Jared Goff is going to be throwing for 4-yard little out routes before they're going to run Craig Reynolds to the outside in any kind of way, right? He'll get some goal line carries if they get there, but that's not it. So
no concern at all with the fact that Baltimore's secondary and linebackers can really move.
So glad you said that. Who have they played?
No, I mean, listen, I'm not arguing that they've played anybody good. I'm just saying I'm looking at them and they can really move.
They're fast. And Roquan Smith is always going to terrify me in the middle of the field when I'm taking a tight end on the other side.
The other thing, too, is you're coming off a game with LaPorta where he had 11 targets, and you're getting a big hard on for the notion he got 11 targets. He had 4 catches for 36 yards. And this has been a guy who has lived on the big play. And I'm not sure that big play is going to be there. He has like 4 catches over 30 yards this year. Like, he has a lot of big plays, a lot of, Ben Johnson, great scheme, wide open, middle of the field. He's more Kittle than anybody else, by the way. It should be noted.
I haven't seen him be that aggressive, but that's probably a good call.
I mean, he isn't that good of a blocker. But
no, he's not Gronk or
open field runner. He got that Kittle in him. They're all Iowa guys. It's all the same shit. So 41 might be a bit rich for me, to be honest with you. It might be a bit rich. I just see the downside. He's already questionable for this week. I mean, he's going to play, but he's got some nagging stuff. Makes me wonder if he's going to get his full snap share. Baltimore concerns me.
Yeah,
I get where you're coming from. That game script does exist, but I'm going to stay away from this one personally.
That's fair. Are you riding with any of these props? You like Downs?
Run him back. I like Downs.
We got Jonathan Taylor under 45.5. I don't think you're trying to do that to yourself.
No, I like the under on Ritter, and I like Downs.
Downs over. Cool.
But again, like I'm not fundamentally disagreeing with any of these takes. They're just a little rich for my blood.
Yeah. And by the way, you should definitely trash whatever you think is garbage on this show.
I'll let you know. Trust me.
Other than the show itself. All right, we are going to do better this week. We promise. We
don't promise anything. We might not be able to.
No, but we feel we said it confidently, and we feel confident, and that's what matters. And I do think that there's some good about. We disagreed on a couple things, which I actually like. I prefer that there's a little bit of dissent, so we can question things and then just be happy.
Don't disagree that this week is poo-poo.
Yeah. It's the week of the poo-poo. So everybody enjoy that. Like I said, follow along, like subscribe, all that good stuff. Next time, I'm going to we'll take what we do here and put it together for a parlay so we can also give away some money on this show as well. So we're not just doing it on one show.
Get your black white beater out.
Yeah, go full McAfee. I'm going to stand up and do it because I'm too pumped to do this show sitting down at that point.
I have taken way too much pre-workout today.
All right, y'all. Best of luck out
my slate of random white dudes. Should I ask about?
Oh man, we went there. All right, get your vaccines, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you. So talk to you next, man. Happy betting.